Welcome to the Three Pillars of DnD Cast. I'm Jesse.
I'm Emma.
I'm Tyler.
Today we're going to be going over the characters we made as examples for the Ranger.
For a Ranger.
So we'll go over the subclass that involves the character, and then we'll discuss the character itself. Just as a general note, when we make these characters, we use the standard array method, mostly so we can kind of exemplify what would be like the dump stat for this character.
Yeah.
And the better features and kind of help round it out a little bit and make it more typical. If you want to use those characters at all, you're welcome to change the stats. I don't care.
Oh, go for it.
Make it work for your campaign or whatever. The idea is just kind of show what a character made from the subclass can do, and what we do with all these is that each of us gets a pillar. This time I'm doing social interaction, Emma's doing combat, and Tyler's doing exploration, and we made a character with that focus in mind. So that's our general concept with these. So
let's head into it.
Yeah, let's get started. So we're going to start with Emma this time, and
Hi.
So your character based on combat, you decided to go with the Gloom Stalker.
Yes, because I like to add flavor to my characters. So Gloom Stalkers are at home in the darkest places, deep under the earth, in gloomy alleyways, in primeval forests, and wherever else the light dims. Most folk enter such places with trepidation, but a Gloom Stalker ventures boldly into the darkness, seeking to ambush threats before they can reach the broader world. Such rangers are often found in the Underdark. They'll go any place where evil lurks in the shadows. I love it.
Okay, I do too. I like the concept of the Gloom Stalker. We don't do a lot of campaigns with our campaigns that involve a lot of dungeon delving. But if I was going to be doing a dungeon delving character, I definitely want to take the Gloom Stalker.
Gloom Stalker herself.
Gloom Stalker is very Underdark based as well.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you're going to do a campaign in the Underdark, you basically have to use Gloom Stalker, you know.
So, you get Gloom Stalker magic when you choose this class. Starting at 3rd level, you learn an additional spell when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown in the Gloom Stalker spells table. The spells count as a ranger spell for you, but it doesn't count against the number of ranger spells you know, which means more spells, and this is nice. So some of the spells are Disguise Self at 3rd level, Rope Trick at 5th level, Fear at 9th level, Greater Invisibility at 13th, Seeming at 17th, and that's it. Which is those are good spells.
Yeah, no, I like the Disguise Self is really good for 3rd level. I mean, 'cause that's 3rd level is the first level spell basically.
Yeah.
And then I've never really used Rope Trick, so I hear that's a good one, but I'm not actually that familiar with it.
I'm not either. I looked it up and then I forgot.
But let's look at Rope Trick real quick, because we don't really go to that one a lot.
So the 2nd level spell, you touch a length of rope that is up to 60 feet long, one end of the rope that rises into the air, with the whole rope hanging perpendicular to the ground. At the upper end of the rope, an invisible entrance opens to an extra-dimensional space that lasts until the spell ends. The extra-dimensional space can be reached by climbing to the top of the rope. The space can hold as many as 8 medium or small creatures. The rope can be pulled into the space, making the rope disappear from view outside of space. Attacks and spells can't cross the entrance or in and out of the extra-dimensional space, but those inside can see out of it as if it's through a 3-foot by 5-foot window centered on the rope. That's
different.
Really cool.
Is there anything else to that?
No.
Oh, I think it's how the extra-dimensional space drops out when the spell ends.
So powdered corn extract and just the parchment is what's needed for that spell.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it uses it enough. But yeah, I mean, powdered corn extract and a twisted loop are loop of rope is not hard to come by.
Oh no.
And then you got fear. I don't know exactly what that does, but it's pretty obvious what it's going to be.
It's obvious what it's
And
going to
then greater visibility. I mean, that's pretty good. And I'm not familiar with seeming either.
No, I'm not. There's a lot of spells I'm not familiar with.
There's a lot of spells I'm not familiar with. We really should do a spell episode or 15.
Or 100. There's so many spells. This spell allows you to change the appearance of any number of creatures that you can see within range. You give each target you choose a new illusionary appearance. An unwilling target can make a charisma saving throw, and if it succeeds, it is unaffected by this spell. This spell disguises physical experience as well as clothing, armor, weapons, and equipment. You can make each creature seem 1 foot shorter or taller and appear thin, fat, or in between. You can change a body type, so you must choose a form that has the same basic arrangement of limbs. Otherwise, the extent of the illusion is up to you. The spell lasts for the duration unless you use your action to dismiss it sooner. The change wrought by this spell failed to hold up in physical inspection. For example, if you use this spell to add a hat to a creature's outfit, object fastened a hat, and anyone who touches it would feel nothing or feel the creature's head and hair. If you use the spell to appear thinner than you or the head of somebody who reaches out to touch you would bump into seemingly still in mid-air. A creature can use its action to inspect a target and make an intelligence or investigation check against their spell save DC. If it succeeds, it becomes aware that the target is disguised.
So how long does this take to cast?
One action and lasts for 8 hours.
If you're trying to run from somebody, you're in like a town, you make everyone look like you.
No.
Yes?
That would be an interesting way of using it, yeah.
Or it's not super big range, but like, and if you're like in a crowd, make everyone look just like you, so it's hard to track.
Yeah, I mean, that would be confusing. For sure. And charisma saving throws aren't the kind of things that most people do, like have really high charisma saving throw. It's not like a really common one. So, it's interesting. I'm not familiar with that sort of forcing people to look different. That's different.
Dread Ambusher. At 3rd level, you must at the art of the ambush. You can give yourself a bonus to your initiative roll equal to your wisdom modifier. At the start of your first turn of each combat, your walking speed increases by 10 feet, which lasts until the end of the turn. If you take the attack action on that turn, you can make one additional weapon attack as part of that action. If that attack hits, that target takes an extra 1d8 damage of this weapon's damage type.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
That's a really good combat ability. So basically, in general, you just get to add your wisdom to your initiative modifier.
Yep.
You get an extra 10 feet of action on the first turn, and if you whack something, they take an extra d8 points of damage.
Yeah. Really good.
And you get to make an additional weapon attack as part of the action.
Yeah.
Wow. So basically, you just get to murderize everything. And
this is very combat.
This is so strong.
At 3rd level, you also get Umbrum Sight. You gain dark vision out of a range of 60 feet. If you already have dark vision from your race, range increases to 30 feet. You are also adept at evading creatures that rely on dark vision. While in dark vision, you are invisible to any creature that relies on dark vision to see you in that darkness. That's really good.
No, this is really good.
Yeah, I like that in particular. My favorite thing about this is that if you already have dark vision from your race, its range increases by 30 feet.
Oh yeah.
I like that. I wish that the Twilight Cleric did something. How it gets dark vision. It doesn't get an extension if it already has dark vision from its race. So I think that's a stipulation. I think they should throw on more.
Oh yeah, they definitely should.
I think dark vision should stack.
Yeah, I think there should be more stacking of dark vision. There should be more stacking of other things in a lot of these abilities and classes. But this is just kind of cool. And of course, the invisible in darkness, if a creature relies on dark vision to see you, is really cool too.
It can be good and bad if you need to contact a friend. Hey, over here, they can't technically see you.
Well, only if they're the kind of person who throw dagger first and then ask questions later.
That's true.
So basically,
hey, how's it going? how are you? And they're like, oh, sorry.
Yep.
I'm doing good.
I'm great. How are you?
Later, stick around long.
By 7th level, you get Iron Mind. You have honed your ability to reset the mind-altering powers of your prey. You gain proficiency in Wisdom saving throws. If you already have this proficiency, you'll gain proficiency in Intelligence or Charisma saving throws. Your choice.
Holy shit.
Wow.
That, being able, if you already have it, which there's a chance you do, you get proficiency in Intelligence and Charisma.
Or charisma.
Sorry.
But, like, yeah, so, like, because Rangers start with Strength and Dexterity.
For some reason.
And if you have Wisdom, which you get from the Resilience feat or multi-classing. Well, no, not multi-classing, wouldn't do that. But, or if you're a race that gives you Resilient saving throws.
I think there's some.
I'm not sure. But basically, yeah, I mean, if you had it for some other reason, mostly Resilience feat, I think, is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at that point, it would be basically you have 4, savings throw bonuses. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
11th level, you get Stalker's Flurry. You can learn to attack with such unexpected speed that you can turn a miss into another strike. Once on each of your turns when you miss with a weapon attack, you can make another weapon attack as part of the same direct action.
Well,
It's really good.
That's really good.
It doesn't give you an extra attack, but let's be fair. If you're attacking, there's a good chance you're going to miss.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's cool. All right, last ability.
Yeah, especially at this level, you have 2 attacks, so, that's basically a search.
Yeah, and if you're using 2-weapon attack style, you're going to have 3 attacks in the turn, so.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
So at 15th level, you have Shadowy Dodge. You can dodge in unforeseen ways with whips of supernatural shadow around you. Whenever a creature makes an attack roll against you and doesn't have advantage on the roll, you can use a reaction to impose disadvantage on it. You must use this feature before you know the outcome of the attack roll.
So basically, it has some nice flavor to it, which is kind of fun. But basically, if it doesn't have an advantage on you, you get to give it disadvantage by using a reaction, which is not the strongest capstone ability.
It's okay.
But it's going to be more useful against certain creatures than other. You're fighting a dragon? Yeah, this is going to be pretty good. You're fighting, like...
A bunch of rats?
Well, at 15th level, if you're fighting a bunch of rats, your GM is just a jerk anyways.
So, at 15th level, if you're fighting a bunch of rats...
You're not wrong.
But, if you're fighting a horde of, we'll say, ogres or something, whatever, it might not be as useful because you don't want to waste your reaction on imposing that disadvantage. But, like I said, against a dragon or,
A horde of rats. No, it's a swarm of rats, sorry.
Are these the rats of unusual size?
They are now.
Because that would be threatening.
That would be threatening.
Not 15th level.
They almost took out Wesley. I'm sorry, they're strong.
I'm sorry,
He's
he's like 16th level.
He's a 3rd level rogue swashbuckler.
What? I said it. I'm offended.
Alright, so we've gone over the subclass of the Gloom Stalker. So let's discuss your character. Who is it? What did you go with? General ideas.
Her name is Lila. Fallen Asimar. Asimars are cool.
Alright, yeah, so what, Fallen Asimar tend to be neutral or
Yes,
evil. You went the neutral side of that.
I did. I was very neutral because I thought I don't like making characters evil because nobody's really evil unless they're like super evil.
Darkness, evil.
But I also like making evil characters too. This is a weird thing. But I thought neutral would be fun because neutral characters have always been something I've struggled with making.
Well, that's understandable.
Fallen Asimars, when touched by dark powers that use or turn evil on our early dark, could become one of the fallen. A group of Asimars whose inner light has been replaced by shadow.
Okay, so what was this character touched by dark shadows to begin with, or did they have were they a light one who became dark?
They were a light when it became dark.
Oh, okay. And what spurred that?
By just some bad encounters with a lot of different people. I'm pretty if this is an NPC, this player would have been working with the bad guy.
Oh, okay. So just by not by nature but by nurture.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. Obviously, we are concerned about play attributes. So
Yeah.
So what abilities of the Fallen Asimar do you think were really important?
Dark vision, because you always need to see.
Okay, so then their normal 60 then becomes 90,
Yes.
which is really good. And then we have the Celestial Resistance for the necrotic damage and the radiant damage. That's pretty good.
That's really good.
For combat, especially.
Mm-hmm. They have healing hands too, because everyone's good. And I don't know. I just think it's cool. Healing hands is just a good spell, even if it's not combat.
Well, it's an ability, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever. It's an ability.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, especially for a Gloom Stalker to be a fall. I mean, it's a little on the nose, but at the same time it works.
Yeah, it works. I really wanted to go with more of a Jerker thing, because that's who I am. And I'm like...
Alright, and then what else do you think was important about this?
The light cantrip.
What about it?
I just think it's a good cantrip. You can cast light, I think that's what it is.
I actually, my biggest problem with the light cantrip is it makes a lot of sense when you don't have dark vision.
Yeah.
And it's I suppose if you're leading a group of people around or whatever.
There's a perfect solution for that, though. It's called a torch.
The sarcasm was real there.
I have a light cantrip. I call it a torch.
It's no, just because of the fire doesn't mean I don't know any spells. I like cantrip. I'm a torch.
All right.
The original light cantrip. A torch.
Okay, so the Necrotic Shroud, that's the ability that's specific to the Fallen Asimar?
Basically, you give in to your edgy nature. Become a true edge lord.
At third level, you can use your action to unleash the divine energy within yourself, causing your eyes to turn into pools of darkness and two skeletal ghostly flightless wings to sprout from your back. The instant you transform, other creatures within 10 feet of you can see that you must succeed on a charisma saving throw. DC 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier, or become frightened of you until the end of your next turn. Your transformation lasts for 1 minute or until you end it as a bonus action. Once on each of your turns, you can deal extra necrotic damage to one target when you deal damage with the attacker spell. The extra necrotic damage equals your level.
How many times do you do this? You only
once
want...
you use a straight, you can use it again until you finish the long
Okay,
rest.
so what's for a long rest? Alright.
So basically, you find all your goth makeup.
Well, notice you get the skeletal wings, but they don't give you flight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a cool, looking thing. This kind of reminds me of, I don't know, I don't remember that well, but there was this movie series back in, I think, in the 90s called The Prophecy, and it was a bunch of, Christopher Walken was an angel, but he was a kind of a semi-evil-ish kind of one. And yeah, you can just imagine him throwing his wings out and scaring the crap out of everybody. And yeah, it has that feel to it. So when it came to the ranger options, you chose Depth Explorer.
Yeah, because I just think that's better.
Well, yeah, I do think that is, especially for the Underdark, you could. There is an Underdark feature under the Natural Explorer. But Deft Explorer, when you already have the Gloom Stalker giving you so many other things for the Underdark, I agree, it makes a lot more sense. In general, I tend to choose the Deft Explorer.
It's a lot better.
Proficiencies, which ones did she go with?
Athletics and animal handling.
Animal handling and survival. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Why did you choose the animal handling?
Because animals are good.
And athletics?
Well, yeah.
Good.
It's a combat character. Athletics and acrobatics are both good depending on what you have. Alright, and then...
I chose favorite enemy.
Okay, so you wanted to have more choices. You wanted oozes. Okay, that makes sense.
Oozes,
Undead.
Undead. And you can speak Elvish and Undercommon.
That.
So this is really supposed to be a character that's played underground.
Yeah, you're really shooting for the Underdark.
Yeah, I was
Oozes
really going.
and Dark Elves are, tend to be no major.
And, undead
problem.
zombies and stuff.
Alright, the fighting style you went with was
I think it was
archery. Oh, okay. So,
I wanted to choose something different.
so you went for long range.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Alright.
Primeval Awareness I chose. Where you can
Where you can sense the creatures. Okay,
Yeah.
so you want to be able to sense things and not have the extra spells. Alright.
I didn't really think. Personal opinion, I don't like spells. So I didn't really think this character needed a lot of spells. I got some extra spells anyway.
What?
I don't like spells.
Okay.
Alright, and then did you just go with ability score improvements?
No, I went with feats.
Really? What feats did you go with?
Pretty sure I went.
Athlete.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I went with athlete.
Alright, yeah, so you just went real heavy on
Real heavy.
the athletics. Okay. Anything else that was special about this character? I mean, that really stands out. Not necessarily even going to be the combat related stuff. Like, is this a lone wolf character that you anticipate, like, does their things on their own, or are they more part of a group most of the time?
The backstory for this character. There's a backstory, I have not written it out yet. But the backstory for this character is that after she got kicked out of whatever group she was part of, she was supposed to be, part of the main villain's group.
Yeah.
And then she was not doing this anymore, but bye. So after she left that group, she kind of went on to try and just stay out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But she shows up in a different personality, but who she really is this really big personality.
She grows a
She
persona.
was really happy all the time, that's why she fell. But she fell because she got in the wrong group of people, and after that she turned into a lone wolf. She hides who she really is.
Okay, so
afraid.
so is she meant to be on a redemption arc?
This is very much a redemption arc type character.
Okay, so this is meant to be, it could be a character obviously, but meant to be also an NPC who leaves the big bad's group, in essence, may help the player characters to a certain degree to get there where they need to go, and probably shows up in the final battle or whatever. Alright.
I don't do a lot of NPCs, so I was trying to be special. And I thought this was a good character. And plus, I just like the darker characters who have bad backstories, who something bad is happening. I like the redemption arc characters.
Yeah, everyone likes an edgelord.
Yeah. I did think of this character as more modern, zombie apocalypse type stuff at the beginning. So that's why there's a lot of darker stuff. But you can play this in really any fantasy.
No, but you're right. This would be equally as good in
anything you want to put this character in. It's okay because you can always change the backstory.
Yeah.
Instead of it's an evil villain, who left the villain group. This is somebody who just changed after a zombie apocalypse.
The Fallen Asmar is from Volo's Guide to the Monster. The Gloom Stalker was from Xanathar's?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, there you go. So,
and of course, optional abilities from Tasha.
Yeah, optional abilities from Tasha. But, pick up those 2 books if you want to make those characters. So, there you go.
You also need Tasha's for some of it, actually, because the Deft Explorers.
Well, we're going to go with to be honest, we pretty much assume you have Xanathars and Tasha's.
We really do.
And you should really have Polo's guide too, but...
Polo's great. Oh.
Alright, well then we'll jump over to mine then. Okay, so for my social interaction character, I decided to go with the Hunter. He's basically your Super Ranger. I mean, that's kind of the idea, is that you lean hard on the what makes a Ranger a Ranger. There's a lot of specialized techniques for, like, fighting individual big bads or hordes of enemies. And you basically got to choose between those as you go up in levels. It's not one that a lot of people seem to take, and I get why a lot of people don't seem to take it, but I actually think for certain kinds of characters it can be very interesting, but it has to be a very specific kind. So
it's like a light cantrip bad.
Now you can't just replace it with a torch.
Well.
So at third level you get the Hunter's Prey. Basically lets you choose between three things: Colossus Slayer, Giant Killer, and Horde Breaker. So Colossus Slayer is your tenacity can wear down the most potent foes. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, the creature takes an extra 1d8 damage if it's below its hit point maximum. You can do this extra damage only once per turn.
That's pretty good, actually.
So, yeah, I mean, that's just a general let you just beat things up kind of thing. I like that. Giant Killer. When a larger creature within 5 feet of you hits or misses you with an attack, you can use your reaction to attack that creature immediately after its attack, provided that you can see the creature. So basically, it lets you gain opportunity attacks against big things. And then there's Horde Breaker. Once on each of your turns, when you make a weapon attack, you can make another attack with the same weapon against a different creature that is within 5 feet of the original target and within range of your weapon. So basically, you get to choose between having a general hit things and do more damage, an opportunity to hit really big things a lot more because of that Giant Killer, or you can be good at dealing with large Dynasty Warriors style battles, essentially. And that's all of these are going to be the same way, in a way. And then on 7th level, you get the defensive tactics. You get to choose between the three: Escape the Horde, Multi-Attack Defense, and Steel Will. So Escape the Horde, opportunity attacks against you are made with disadvantage. Once again, good in a large group of enemies. The Multi-Attack Defense, when a creature hits you with an attack, you get a +4 bonus to AC against all subsequent attacks made by that creature for the rest of the turn. No, okay, so Multi-Attack Defense, I can see where this could actually be very good.
Oh, yeah.
Against a lot of creatures. Especially later in like by the time you hit 7th level, a lot of the creatures you're going to be hitting, or going to be going up against, have a multi-attack.
Yeah.
So this can be a very good one depending on what kind of campaign you're in, and if it's coming up a lot, maybe you should consider taking it. Really, it has a lot of advantages.
Hello campaign, really good.
Steel Will. You have advantage on saving throws against being frightened.
That's very short and sweet.
Yeah, very short and sweet. It doesn't seem like it's very good, but if you're going to be fighting gods, dragons, a lot of the more disturbing creatures in general, a lot of them do the frighten ability, and not being able to be frightened is really good. I mean, every dragon has the frighten.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at 11th level you get the multi-attack. So you have volley, which is mostly for arrows. You have the whirlwind attack, and those are the two you get to choose from. So, yeah, so volley is you can use your action to make a ranged attack against any number of creatures within 10 feet of a point you can see within the weapon's range. You must have ammunition for each target as normal, and you make a separate attack roll for each target. So if you get a bunch of little things in a smaller area, all packed together, you can plug a lot of arrows into them.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have the whirlwind attack. You can use your action to make a melee attack against any number of creatures within 5 feet of you, with a separate attack roll for each target. So basically, when I see a whirlwind attack, I just think of Link's move from the Legend of Zelda games, and you get to hit everything around you. And that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Alright, 15th level, you get the Superior Hunter's Defense. You get to choose between Evasion, which is basically just like the rogue ability of Evasion. You get to take half from if you fail a dexterity saving throw, and then no damage if you make a dexterity saving throw.
Yeah.
Stand against the tide. When a hostile creature misses you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to force that creature to repeat the same attack against another creature other than itself of your choice. Which is kind of nice. You just basically hit their weapon to the side and they hit their friend instead. Which is pretty fun.
Tarast hits a dragon.
The Uncanny Dodge. And this is just like the rogue ability as well. When an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to have the attack's damage against you.
Except rogues get it at 5th level, and rangers
Rangers suck, so they have to get it eventually, but they don't get it till 15th level.
Although, I do have to say, but the stand against the tide ability, though, with, like giant creatures, I do find it weird, like a giant Tarast comes down at you with a claw, about to kill you. You get with a sword and suddenly hit someone else.
Hi.
Okay, so speaking of Uncanny Dodge, we're going to go to break. So, welcome to the Shameless Plug Break. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, we appreciate it if you like and subscribe.
Yes.
If you listen to the podcast, reviews for anywhere that you do podcast reviews would be great.
And share us to people that you think would enjoy.
Exactly.
Basically,
spread the word.
Do anything to give us money.
If you want to find us on Twitter, it's at Our Dorky. On Instagram, it's at Our Dorky Family.
Yes.
Use the hashtag 3 Pillars Cast to discuss the show. That's the end of the break, so we'll see you in a second. Bye.
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 Nope.
All right. So now we're back from our extremely long break. We're going to talk about the character I made for my focus on social interaction. I went with the Hunter, was my subclass. So I chose to go with the Vidalcan race. This character's name is Rill. Rill of the Shadows is what I named him. I based him a lot off of the Rangers from the Rangers Apprentice series, in particular Will and Holt, those two characters from that series. And in that one, the idea, if you're not familiar with it at all, the Rangers are kind of like a Secret Service or CIA kind of rolled into one for the king. In that one, there's one for each of the fiefs, and they each have their own territory they're going to take care of. And they're a little bit, they have a lot of the Rangers' abilities to fire a bow well, and they throw knives, and they, stalk through the forest, and they're good at making maps, and, things like that. They also do a lot of, detective-like work, like in doing investigations on criminals and gathering evidence, and they're also considered part of the military during large conflicts. They're active scouts and do a lot of strategic planning and things like that as well. So they're kind of a super character in a way. Like it would be hard to make a D&D character that was exactly like that, but you can come kind of close. Mm-hmm. So I went with the Vidalcan because I've never made a Vidalcan before, so I thought it'd be kind of fun. They're more of a high intelligence, high wisdom race. They have they're more emotion light. They they're not like emotionless, but like they're real focused on what they do, and I like them as a race. They're of course from a Magic the Gathering style race that they brought in. I think they're in Ravnica. I think is the book you get them from.
It's also in certain plane shifts.
Yeah, it's in certain plane shifts as well. There are a lot of different planes of existence in the Magic the Gathering universe. So I thought bringing that aspect to the Rangers, which are all human in that world, would be an interesting way of kind of approaching that. So I kept the Vidalcan's intelligence and wisdom bonuses for this character because that was okay. I wanted to have a ranger who was more about their intelligence and their wisdom and their charisma than necessarily about being a high combat thing. I still have a fairly good dexterity because you should have a good dexterity as a ranger, but I didn't focus as much on strength and constitution with this one. So let's go over to the Vidalcan Dispassion real quick. It gives you an advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throw, which is just really, really good.
Basically, numb cunning.
Is that what the numb cunning is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's part of that. Then they have the tireless precision, which is the ability that they can choose a tool and they can choose a skill, and they get to have an extra D4 bonus with those skills, and you get to learn the skills as well. So when you're looking for a skill hog kind of character build, a Vidalcan can be really good for that. And then they have that partially amphibious, which I just thought for a ranger that kind of was fun, the ability to breathe underwater for up to an hour, once per day, basically, is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So it just gives a little versatility.
No, that makes sense.
So I used the background of Faction Agent for this character. A Faction Agent is kind of a general background that you get from the Sword Coast Adventures, I believe it is. That you basically choose a group that you're a part of. I'm basing it on the Rangers from the Rangers Apprentice book, so they'd be the Rangers. You get the insight, skill proficiency, and you get to choose one. The other proficiency that kind of makes sense for whatever faction you're in, and a couple languages. And then you get the safe haven ability where basically someone in your faction will hide you out, stuff like that. Right, then for alignment, I went with neutral good. The idea, because a lot of the idea behind the Rangers and the Rangers Apprentice series is that they will break the law if necessary. They're not supposed to because they're supposed to be enforcing the law. So that kind of that neutral good, I think, is a good way of representing that. I think. For faith, I kind of went with my queen and the people. The idea is that he's not a very religious person at all. Mm-hmm. He simply, lives for, serving his queen. You could make that the king if you want to use it in your own campaign. And the king was more appropriate in the people. But the idea is that, is a force of good for the people.
Yeah. Essentially.
So he's gonna maintain other people's religions and support them having them, but not necessarily fall into the traps of them. So that kind of stuff isn't that important. All right. So when it came to the class and the optional features, I went with the Deft Explorer. I made sure that he chose Canny. Ability of survival, chose Goblin and Sylvan. I wanted to have a lot of extra languages, so that's a lot of why I chose Depth Explorer, even though in general I just think it's better than Natural Explorer. And so that's why I kind of went with that one. For skills, I choose Survival, Stealth, and Animal Handling. Survival and Stealth are obvious. It makes sense for any ranger. I went with animal handling because in the Ranger's Apprentice books they all have a horse and they're really close to their horse. So I wanted to make sure that this character would have a horse they could be really close to and understand it better than most. Like, they're supposed to be pretty good with them. I went ahead and took the favorite enemy as opposed to favorite foe because I wanted it to have more languages to speak. The social interaction character, I wanted to have more languages. That was one of the main reasons why I took it. And I figured since you're based on defending a particular part of the kingdom, you probably can specialize in what kind of enemies you have. So, like, for humanoids, I went with goblinoids and werewolves because that seemed like a good general one. And then chose the orc language because I already had goblin. And then I also went with undead. And since it's a magic-based word, I chose Leonin for one of the languages because, you're going to run into those in magic-based worlds.
Yeah.
So, I thought that'd be good. For fighting style, I went with the thrown weapon fighting, mostly because that kind of lines up with the Ranger's Apprentice series. They all have 2 knives they keep at their side. One's for throwing, and one is for mostly hacking things down. But it's also weighted for throwing, so you want to have. It just made more sense with that particular character.
Oh yeah.
The archery bonus would have made sense for it as well because they're supposed to be really good at shooting the bow. So that's fine. I chose primal awareness because primeval awareness, I don't know, I just don't like it. I know you like it. You prefer that one yourself, but I like primal awareness better. I think that having the beast sense and speak with animals, especially early on, is good. Speak with plants. Those all feel like more social interaction kind of abilities. So I thought those made a little more sense for this character. Of course, like I said, I went with the hunter for the subclass. I like with Hunter's Prey, I went with Colossus Slayer because just be able to do better damage to big creatures is good. I mean, it's a generally good ability. I also like the defensive tactics of Steel Will. It just makes it so you're not frightened by anything, which just epitomizes its character a little better. And the multi-attack of Volley, so that you can just keep hitting things with your bow during combat, because like in that series, they do a lot of big combat, like big war moments, and in those moments, like all the Rangers are just plugging off dozens of people like every second with their bow, and they just they go through like 100 arrows in like less than a couple minutes, pretty quick. So it was an ability that made a lot of sense for them. So, and then I used the hide in plain sight, I think it was, instead of the other version. I can't remember what the other version's called from Tasha's. But since in that series they don't use magic as much, they use it's supposed to be more reality based. I thought the Nature's Veil was going a little bit too far. You could argue for either one though.
Oh yeah.
If you're making characters based on that. So I went with that because I thought that was best. I also chose the sharpshooter feat, the observant feat, and then I upped the dexterity by a couple of points with the last one.
Evil.
Just to get the dexterity score up.
Evil.
Because I thought it'd be better with training he would get better. So, and training's a big part of how those characters work. As time goes by, they just get better with their stuff. So I thought it was really important for him to have some increases there. If I was going to choose another feat though, like a level 16 or level 19, I would probably consider taking the fighting style and adding the archery bonus to get better at shooting. And there's plenty of other ones that are good. Resilience feat. would probably be a really good one. Add some constitution, things like that. You're going to be out in the wild a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a good one. So that's kind of what I was shooting for when it came with this character. Obviously, the main idea is that you want to use your bow to fight things. You're not out in close kind of combat kind of character. You're capable of doing it, but as for how those people go, they tend to be more long range ability use. That's what I like.
Oh, yeah.
So that was my take on the Ranger. I thought it'd be fun. It's the first time I've really made a character based on a very specific group of characters in a book series, and it was a fun experiment. So.
Oh, yeah.
Any questions, ideas, thoughts? What about you, Tyler?
Oh, I think it's an interesting character. I think you could have maybe gone with a more. I thought I'd think of something at the end of that sentence. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I think it would make a good NPC. Obviously, I think it'd be a really fun character to play, but it'd be harder to be like someone who works directly for the Queen in a campaign, unless the other characters were like it. The Ranger's Apprentice series got around it because Horace was like the champion of the princess. Like he would go with the other two Rangers, so they always had basically a really souped up champion fighter or I think probably more of a battle master, I suppose. Battle master fighter that went with the Rangers, so that they had a little bit of flexibility in things they could do, because Rangers are good at some things, but a battle master is really good at dueling people. There's some advantages there. It'd be harder to make a campaign, but say if it's just you and a DM, or it's like we are, where it's just two players and one DM, it might work as a player.
Oh, yeah.
So the Vidalkin, like I said before, was in the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, and the Hunters from the Player's Handbook.
And Basic Rules, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it is from the Basic Rules as well. So you don't have to get a lot of books to try this one out. And then, of course, there's Natasha's options, but
not really add too much to the character.
Yeah, I didn't really need them all that much for this character.
It's really, if you include the plane shift as free stuff, you can make this character totally free.
Oh yeah, because the Vidalkin does show up in a plane shift, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's in the Kaladesh one?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, there you go. There's our options. So, fun. Alright, so let's move on to Tyler's.
Okay.
So what subclass did you go with? And your focus was on exploration, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so my subclass was Horizon Walker.
Horizon Walker. Alright.
Horizon Walkers guard the world against threats that originate from other planes or that seek to ravage the mortal realm with otherworldly magic. They seek out planar portals and keep watch over them, venturing into the inner planes and the outer wilds as needed to pursue their foes. These rangers are also friends to any forces to the multiverse, especially benevolent dragons, fae, and elementals that work to preserve life and the order of the planes.
Alright, so they're like extraplanar rangers, essentially.
Yeah, they're extraplanars, but most rangers focus on like nature, or Horizon Walkers focus on the world.
Okay, so in a way, kind of like the Doctor Strange of.
Doctor Strange is a wizard.
Yeah, he could be a wizard too. But what I'm saying is, like, people in that order could have been Horizon Walkers. Doctor Strange himself, is
the most wizardy wizard of all.
Oh, they have portals though. And that's part of. They can't like teleport places. That's kind of.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to say. So in a way, Horizon Walker are kind of like in Doctor Strange a little bit.
Yes.
Like how they're there to protect our reality, our plane of existence, things like that. A little bit of a stretch because they're obviously wizards.
Wizard.
Yeah. Okay. So Horizon Walkers, they get protection from good and evil, Misty Step, haste, banishment, and teleportation circle.
Oh, as part of their Horizon Walker magic?
Yeah.
So that's at 3rd, 5th, 9th, 13th, and 17th levels. Okay.
Yep. And it gets the feature Detect Portal. At 3rd level, you gain the ability to magically sense the presence of a planar portal. As an action, you detect the distance and direction of the closest planar portal within 1 mile of you. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest.
This one a bit confuses me, though. Honestly, I think I would homebrew change this as a DM. I would say that you can, as a Horizon Walker, you can sense when a portal opens up within a mile of you. Mm-hmm. And if you want to try to figure out the direction or distance, you can only use that feature once a long rest.
Yes.
But
if you're literally just looking for the portals, you should know where they are.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a weird thing. Like, I have a tingling sensation like Spider-Man, and it's just, and I go, I should see if there's a portal anywhere near here.
Well,
why would that come up?
It's a mile. You know how long it takes to travel a mile?
Well, how long it takes you to travel there doesn't matter whether once a day you're just going to randomly decide to detect a point of a portal anywhere near
Or it's
you.
a short rest, though. You can get back in a short rest. So a way you could do this is if you want to constantly be finding them, is you could check, and then either...
Yeah, but wouldn't that, like, ruin your teammates' lives?
Well, yeah, if you have teammates, yeah. Who cares about them?
No, I get what you're saying is if you know there's a planar portal somewhere in here and you're trying to figure out where it is, you could try to detect it, and that doesn't work, take a short rest, travel a little bit, and try again. What I'm saying is I would change this ability as the DM to say if a planar portal just happened to open up within a mile of you, you'd be able to detect that happened. Not where it was.
But you'd know, oh my god, it's somewhere around here.
Yeah, oh my god, something happened. Like, just be able to detect that shift in the force or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
I think that should be a caveat to this or whatever, an extra bonus that when one just happens to rip open near you, you should be able to feel that. Yeah. That's just me.
Well, I don't know exactly what D&D's like, but I would imagine a portal ripping up in the middle of a place would make almost everyone near it be able to sense it, at least some way, shape, or form. It's a tear reality.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I suppose you're right. You should probably determine in your world what the average because most magic users, I think, would be able to sense when a portal would open up near them. Yeah. So if you say the average person could feel it within a mile, I'd say that the Horizon Walker could probably do twice as much. Yeah. Whatever you think the average person would be able to notice a portal opening up.
Well, I think a spellcaster should be able to do twice as much, and then Horizon Walker actually 4 times because they're kind of specialized in this.
Yeah.
But anyways, another 3rd level ability to get is Planar Warrior. For Planar Warrior, at 3rd level, you'll learn to draw on the energy of the multiverse to augment your attacks. As a bonus action, choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. Next time you hit that creature on this turn with a weapon attack, all damage dealt by that attack becomes force damage, and the creature takes an extra 1d8 force damage from the attack. And when you reach level 11, it increases to 2d8.
Nice. See, this, though, basically encourages the Horizon Walker to have more of a heavy weapon build, like a large polearm or a great sword or a giant axe or whatever. Because you'd want to use your bonus action a lot to add that extra D8 of force damage.
In my case, I'm using a double weight scimitar.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. But yeah, eventually, obviously you're going to want to use this bonus attack.
I think there's some
your bonus action.
You wouldn't, though.
I'm sure there would be. Hard to pass up, though, an extra D8 of force damage.
Yeah, very, very, and especially at 11th level, you should always be using. You should never be using like 2 weapons.
Yeah, and I mean it's really nice. It kind of runs since it uses your bonus action. It's gonna be in conflict with future abilities of this subclass, but also with Hunter's Mark and things like that. So. Since there's no limit on the amount of times you can use it, it's kind of nice. Once per turn, but, that's pretty good. It has to be within 30 feet of you, so you can still use a long-range attack like a bow with it, which is kind of nice, but not too far away. So you could throw a knife, hit him with a bow. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Alright.
And then Ethereal Step. At 7th level, you're going to step through the ethereal plane. As a bonus action, you cast Etherealness spell with this feature without expending a spell slot, but the spell ends at the end of the current turn. Ugh. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest.
There you go.
And Etherealness, just by the way, is a it's a 7th level spell that you get cast at 7th level.
Yeah, which is really powerful. I mean,
then,
Rangers never have access to 7th level spells to begin with.
You step into the border of the ethereal plane, an area where it overlaps your current plane. You remain in the border ethereal for duration or until you use your action to dismiss the spell. During this time, you can move in any direction. If you move up or down, every foot movement costs an extra foot. You can see and hear the plane you originated from, but everything looks gray. You can't see anything more than 60 feet away. Okay. And then it lasts for 8 hours.
Yeah, but this one ends at the end of the current turn.
Yeah. There's a lot more, but I'm not going to read all because that's a lot.
Yeah, well, that's the part that's going to apply the most.
Yeah.
Because you only have a turn to do it with, that action round. And so basically that round you could quickly get up someplace high that you weren't able to get up to before, or go down through a solid, right? You go through a solid object to a lower area.
But you could get stuck.
You could get stuck, which would suck.
Oh, yeah, I remember, mid-movement, someone, dismiss, magic or whatever that spell's called.
Yeah, but most, the way turns in D&D work, technically that shouldn't happen while you're doing your movement anyways.
Imagine, you end the turn, though, in the ground. Imagine, because remember, normally it lasts for 8 hours. So you move down.
Well, yeah, but the thing specifically says this version ends at end of turn. You wouldn't end your turn in the middle of...
I'm just talking in general.
Well, yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, it's what this subclass can do with it. It varies. It's not as useful, but you could really appear as if you you seem to disappear to your enemies and show up behind them. You could break through someone's formation that way, which would be really good.
That'd be great. Get
through the castle wall or castle gate. There's a lot of ways you could use this. In a lot like Misty Step, but not quite the same. So I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Flavorful.
And Distant Strike at 11th level, gain the ability to pass between the planes in a blink of an eye. Take the attack action, you teleport up to 10 feet before each attack in an unoccupied space you can see. If you attack at least 2 different creatures with the action, you can make one additional attack with it against a third creature.
Nice. So in a way, if you have opponents that are close enough, you can get an extra attack in and hit a third opponent.
Yeah.
Huh.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is really interesting.
It's not like if you're close up fight. It doesn't restrict you to close up fighting. You can like shoot someone with a bow or a crossbow, and then like teleport somewhere different and then hit someone else.
Oh, that's true. You're right. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, you can do that thing where you're like behind a pillar, fire your bow, teleport to behind another pillar, fire your bow at someone else, and teleport to another pillar and fire your bow and at a third target, and they'd have no idea where the hell you were at that point. I mean, that would totally confuse the hell out of your opponent.
Yeah.
They'd like, where did all these shots come from? Are there three different guys trying to shoot us? I mean...
Especially, like, say after your third attack, you move out of the way that they can see you.
Yeah.
With your movements.
And this not limited to, like, once a day or anything like that. You can just do this all the time.
Yeah. It's basically a third attack.
Yeah, the only requirement is that you had to have 3 enemies. You can't just do 3 attacks on the same enemy. But...
Well, I count every living creature as my enemy, so we're a beetle.
Well, you could kill a lot of beetles?
Anyways, the Spectral Fence. At 15th level, your ability to move between planes enables you to slip through the planar boundaries to lessen the harm done to you during battle. When you take damage from an attack, you can use your reaction to give yourself resistance to all that attack's damage on this turn.
Wow. That's basically just like, hey, I'm going to take half damage now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you not?
No.
So, yeah, I like Horizon Walker. I've made Horizon Walker characters before. It's one of my favorite Ranger subclasses. I believe that's from Xanathar's Guide, right?
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, my character is Nula. They are a Valinor Wood Elf.
Okay.
They.
So they, them pronouns?
Yeah, they, them.
Okay.
Nice.
The reason I chose Elf was, one, because we're going to need to use Elf eventually.
Yeah.
Helped with my build. Because, Valinor Elves get an ability where they get proficiency with scimitars, and then short bow, long bow, and double blade scimitar.
Oh, okay.
I changed that around a little bit, but mainly the same feel.
Oh, okay.
Using scimitars and crossbows.
Okay.
Those. And how Nula, it's a traveler, travels around the world.
And Valinor, those are the ones from Eberron, right?
Yep.
Okay, so do you think that this character's most should be based in Eberron, or do you think you just like that particular version of the elf?
I just like that particular version of the elf.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Basically Valinors are just they replaced the spell with some weapon proficiencies, basically.
Oh, okay.
If I'm correct.
So you really could work that into just about any world, really, because to suggest that all elves need to be have some natural spellcasting ability doesn't make sense, even in the wood elf culture. There's going to be some of them who don't necessarily use spells, actually use more weapon proficiencies because they are more your martial-based warriors of the clan or whatever.
Yeah, no, I really like the Valinor elves. And my favorite part is there's Valinor wood elves and high elves. So you have some flexibility as well.
With just those ones. Huh, fun.
Yeah, basically elves in their current form, they're not like other subclasses, they're more like mixed match. Honestly, I don't think subclass should even fit them anymore.
Oh, subrace?
The sub-race. Like, you should just be able to choose from, like, certain abilities.
It would be easier, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would be so much easier.
Alright, so either way, back to Nula?
Yeah, Nula.
Okay.
They have dark vision, 60 feet. Keen senses, so they have proficiency in perception. They have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put them to sleep. They have trance, which they meditate for 4 hours instead of sleeping.
Okay, so these are all good exploration abilities.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. I can see why you'd want to focus on that. Yeah?
They have the languages, Elvish and Common.
Okay.
They have proficiency with, cannon, heavy crossbow, double blade scimitar, and short bow. Walking speed of 35 feet. Fleet of foot is so good.
Yeah.
That extra 5 feet really makes a difference.
So their walking speed is 35 to begin with?
Yeah.
Nice.
You can attempt to hide even when you're only lightly obscured by foliage, heavy rain, falling snow, mist, or other natural phenomenon.
Oh, yeah. Is that the
Mask of the Wild?
Mask of the Wild? Yeah.
They are an outlander. They grew up in the wilds, far from civilization and the comforts of town technology. You witness the migration of herds larger than forests, survive weather more extreme than any city dweller can comprehend, enjoy the solitude of being the only singing creature for miles in any direction.
So, was this like a raised by wolves kind of situation, or just like the whole clan or what the group of elves they were part of was just so apart from everybody else?
Wasn't even raised by wolves. Raised by barely anything.
Okay.
They can speak though.
Okay, so a lot of the reason why they go with they them is because they weren't raised with any kind of gender stereotypes to begin with. Gender expectations. That's what I'm trying to say. They weren't raised with any gender expectations to begin with. Okay, that makes sense.
Like, okay.
So they just spent their whole lives out in the wild, basically. And then, what do you think drew them to become Horizon Walkers? What do you think the draw was?
One day they found a portal to another realm, and while investigating it, some horrible demon came out, and they almost lost their life.
Oh, okay.
And for years afterwards, they were intrigued by those portals they found.
All right, they just did. Was it one of those like they actually went to the city at that point to learn more about portals and find a master, or do you think they?
No, they trained themselves.
They just trained themselves.
Yeah.
Did they go through the portal?
No.
No.
Almost.
Probably would have been a bad idea.
Or
especially if a demon came out of it.
A finger went through, but nothing else.
Makes sense. All right. Oh, cool. That's a cool idea. So, what ability scores did you go with? What was your dump stat? For example.
Dump stat.
And what was your high?
My dump stat was strength. My highest, from highest to lowest was Dex, Con, Wisdom, Intelligence, Charisma, and then Strength.
I did. Strength was also my dump stat, so.
That level 9.
That.
Pretty sure mine was Wisdom.
Oh. Now they're very dex-based. How they fight, if they ever do fight, it is they can either get up close with their double blade scimitar, teleport all around the place. They can dual wield with 2 scimitars.
Yeah.
They can also dual wield with 2 hand crossbows or with 1 heavy crossbow.
There you go. All right. So, what class abilities did you take?
Class, Death Explorer.
So now your walking speed's 45, right?
Yep. Undercommon, Goblin, Perception. Favorite enemy, I chose Beast. And the language Orc. Humanoids, I took Goblinoids, Orcs, and then Sylvan. And for Fae, I took Celestial.
Alright, so you went with favored enemy instead of favored foe?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what level is this character? I forgot to ask.
Oh, 17, very high.
17, very high. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Alright, so what feats did you go with?
My feats are, let's see, Crossbow Expert, Dual Wielder, Sharpshooter,
There you go.
and then Revenant Blade.
Alright, so is there anything else about this character that you wanted to highlight? Obviously you feel the double-bladed scimitar is definitely the best way to go, but,
Yeah.
I mean, do they carry a variant where their double-bladed scimitar can be detached to use split apart Dark Maul style?
Sure.
Because I think that's cool.
That's how it is now.
Yeah, there you go. That's canon. Were there any particular spells that you chose that you thought were important to the ranger? I didn't. My spells weren't important for mine, so that wasn't really the highlight of my character.
I have flame arrows and lightning arrows, which can help. They let my crossbows do extra damage.
Oh yeah, okay. Actually, ask me. Why did you go with crossbows as opposed to using longbows or shortbows?
Well, hand crossbows are able to be dual weld. That was the reason I chose hand crossbows, and heavy crossbow was just more effective.
Do you do you just happen to like the crossbow feat quite a bit?
Also that as well.
Oh, there you go.
I personally think there's no reason to choose bow over crossbow if you have proficiency with both.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, that about wraps it up then.
Woo!
For those set of characters, I thought that was a pretty interesting mix.
Oh, yeah.
So, either way, we will see you next time.
Yes, we will. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Transition, and then my mind was like, no, no, you don't.
She's having trouble. She just keeps tripping over her words. It's fine.
That's common.
That's why there's edits, honey. It's not a big deal. Only when people watch the blooper reels that you realize that you don't know how to talk.
Talking is stupid.
You're offending the Blizzard. She just wants you to do a good job. Look at her.
The Blizzard.
The Blizzard is judging you.
At 3rd level, you also gain Umbrum's.
What?
Umbrum.
Umbrum.
Oh. Did you believe this Blizzard is so crazy? Yeah. Sorry.
Stop being a weird cat lady. No.
I have the tits for it.
It's alright. You're gonna have to cut me out of life. Please murder me.
But many DMs are lenient to throw dragons at their players because the players are just gonna be like, wow, so original, Dungeons and Dragons. Or not.
Anyways, Dragonborns are pretty much evidence that dragons. The reason why dragons are in Dungeons and Dragons is because they have sex with everything.
Well, bards have sex with everything.
Yes, all dragons are just bards.
I think Dragonborns are made. It's when a bard and a dragon meet each other. They don't really love each other, but they will just have sex.
They touch foreheads and a dragonborn comes into existence.
Yeah, sure, touch foreheads. Yeah, people who say something like that deserve to be killed.
No, Kelly. I did that last time because she really caught her tail and took a bite, and then she ran off like someone attacked her.
Oh, she did? Oh, she took a bite?
That was her last. Like, yeah, she grabbed her tail with both the little paws and went, and then she looked like someone attacked her, and then she ran off. It was just like, you don't realize that thing's attached to you?